better than or more than was an illusion. You can pursue it, and it will take you nowhere. It can never fulfill itself because it is a thought form, me, the special one, that you wanted to incorporate into the story of me. That is the basis of your identity as long as you are trapped only in thought. Me, the special one. Some people have the fiction in their head that they are, and I don't want to take, by the way, away anybody's fiction if they still like it. You could have the fiction in their head that in a past lifetime you were Napoleon. And that can give you a sense of specialness, but it is derived from the movement of thought and images. But that keeps some people going. Nobody might agree with you that you were Napoleon, but at least it temporarily keeps you, okay, but you have to keep thinking about it and tell the story to others. And others have other stories where other people say, yeah, that's true, that's who you are. But it is based on the movement of thought and the emotions that go with those thoughts. So you have a whole identity based on a personal history. Very little. And it's not going to last for very long. The soap bubble of my personal history is going to pop soon. And everybody can say, I'm not predicting my imminent death, nobody knows. But everybody's death is ultimately imminent because 1 year or 50 years, it comes quite soon. And it'll be now when it comes, not tomorrow. And so to be trapped in that sense of self, a conceptual reality, that is a dreadful fate. It's constant neediness, which even gets translated into the spiritual. Once you have realized, okay, I'm done with possessions, I know that that's not it. But be careful here with other thought forms that arise to replace. For example, you might have spent 20 years of your life making money, and then you see, okay, I'm now giving away my BMW. I'm going to buy a bicycle because I'm spiritual. And I will only wear certain spiritual clothes or this or that, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm on my bicycle, and then I can be on my bicycle and look at the person who is still so unconscious that he's driving his BMW and can think how much superior I am in my spiritual. And of course, what you're carrying now is a much heavier thought form than the BMW thought form. So your sense of self has become, it's quite possible that the BMW man has less of a sense of self than the man on the bicycle. It's possible, probably not, but it's possible. So be careful with how the mind shifts and then chooses another story to feel, but always to make itself feel more than in one way or another, so that it works through comparison, because it's thought. I have an image of who I am, and then I need to compare that to who I think other people are. So I impose images on myself, mental concepts and images, and then I impose them on others, and then I compare my image with that image. Okay, so I'm more spiritual than this. Or he's more spiritual, he's been at it for much longer than me. And then you go, how much you know. Knowledge is another one. You casually mention from your great store of knowledge, you casually mention a few things, and the other person is dumbfounded, doesn't know what you. And it's obvious that you know more than he. And that gives the feeling of, And so it works with little things to enhance its always very precarious sense of self. And then it loves being right. It loves others to be wrong because that's the only way you can be right. It loves being right and feels itself enhanced momentarily through, I'm right. So it's always the strengthening of the fiction of self, the fiction of me and my story. And that people go through life looking for that. That's the purpose of their life, is to strengthen the fiction of me. And so that becomes the motivating force behind their actions, what they do. And it's always it's an uneasy thing, because very often you feel less than somebody else. And then you have to kind of work around that. Less special than he. He knows more, but on the other hand, I look better. And then other people, if they cannot achieve the specialness in the way in which the world tells us you ought to be special, they achieve a reverse specialness by feeling unfairly treated by life, by feeling that they are a victim of certain people or situations, and in their thought form of being a victim, they feel very special. So you can still win, even if you lose. The mind is very clever. And a victim identity can be very strongly lodged in some people's minds. And as soon as you meet them, and after 5 minutes, they will tell you their story. You know what happened 25 years ago it happened. And of course, yes, dreadful things did happen 25 years ago, and they happen today also in this mad world. But building an identity around some form of suffering that happened at some point or repeatedly in this mad world where suffering is inevitable, to build a sense of specialness around that, then you have put yourself into a dreadful prison with bars all around. But at least you think you know who you are. You have a story. Oh, great, at least I have a story. My life treated me more unfairly than most people. I can feel more then. And so whatever the mind, it will find something to give itself an identity, a conceptual identity, and it is very much afraid of losing the story, of abandoning it, stepping beyond it. And usually the story needs to become unpleasant for people to be pushed out of it. It's because in a way the story is a dream. The dream of who I am. And if a dream becomes very unpleasant, then you will want to wake up. If no dream of me is ultimately all that pleasant, but some are more unpleasant than others. So see how the self, the conceptual self, continuously tries to survive, not only to survive and protect itself from others, and to use others to enhance itself, use them in one way or another. And that determines the relationship between humans. When you haven't stepped beyond that, there is wanting to use another human or feeling you need to protect yourself from another human being. Those are the two things that govern relationships in the egoic state. You either use them or you fear them. You need them and you're afraid of them, and sometimes both at the same time. And of course that also means there is no true relationship. It gets distorted because you don't know who you are. You have only an image in the head that tries to make itself stronger because it doesn't feel enough yet. I'm not enough yet. And so for some people, the sense of specialness is attained by frequent complaining in the head and out aloud about life and situations